Hello, this is Matthew Robert Payne, and I'm the author of 58 books. 36 of my books are available uh, for free in a website down below in the description tag. So you can go and have a look at some of my books. Uh, these stories, uh, these stories I'm going to mention are mentioned in a book, My Radical Encounters with Angels. And unfortunately, I've only got 36 books that are free out of the 58, and these ones aren't free simply because the Microsoft Word documents that they're taken from were too old, and I didn't have records of them on my computer anymore. So I've only got 36 of my books for free, and the book that this is out of is 99 cents on Kindle. So uh, I thought I'd share some angel stories simply because people love angels, and I'm mistaken in thinking everyone that listens to my YouTube has read my Radical Encounters with Angels books. So um, this is a pretty scary subject, and I'm going to go into a little bit of detail with it. With the first story, and then I'll explain the second and third story. Um, so the first story is how angels saved me from being murdered, and then when it says and more, there's two other stories of where assault was going to happen, and angels helped me out. So the first story was I was spending 6 days a week uh, going into a strip joint in the red light district of Sydney, King's Cross. And I did that for a year and ministered to a whole lot of prostitutes. And then Jesus called me away from that, and I did. I left and stopped going in there. It was the club that I used to go into and minister to the prostitutes in there. That had murdered a few people, that killed people. People had gone into that club and never been seen again. And so it was a pretty heavy duty place, but um, Jesus sent me in on an assignment to buy coffees for the prostitutes and witness to them. And so I did that for a year. Then I ended up in a situation where somewhere where I was living kicked me out of where I was living, and I became homeless. I didn't have any money. So I went into that club to stay up all night, and then I was going to sleep in the park and just go to McDonald's or go to that club every night and sleep. And I had my whole bag of possessions, um, all my clothes and stuff. And the prostitutes in the cross in the club come to realize that I was homeless. So one of them said I could sleep in her room, and I stayed up and went to her room and slept in her room. And the next day, she gave me $50. She told me where a homeless hostel was, and for me to go and inquire. And she said, "Here's $50 to spend." And she was a good friend, and so the next night, my bag was up in her room. The next night, one of the bouncers, security, got really angry with me, and I went to the owner who used to gamble, or the manager of the club who used to gamble. I went down to him and I said, "Call your dogs off, man." And I was meaning the bouncers, but in Australia, the word dog means someone who reports a crime in a prison or someone who talks to the police. They're called a dog, and the worst of the worst. Um, so, um, so I said, "Call your dogs off." I didn't mean that this guy was someone who talked to police or talked in prison. I meant like someone who was violent. Anyway, I went to another club and I was drinking, having a couple of Cokes. You could take a bottle of Coke into the place and drink, and I was filling in time for the night to pass. And this bouncer that was cranky with me, upset with me, he came into the club and he said, "Let's go for a walk. I'm not going to hurt you. Everything's going to be fine." I went for a walk, and as I was walking around the corner, three other guys appeared with him, and said, "Let's. I just want to talk to my friends. I'll talk to you in a sec." And we ended up around the back of the club, and he said to me, "I just want to check with the manager if he called me a dog, because I think he called me a dog." And he got his phone and he opened his phone and started to call and talk to the manager. Said, did he really call me a dog? As soon as he did that, that was a sign. One of the guys hit me, the three guys, and then I was on the ground. I was getting kicked. And the LA policeman that beat the guy and kicked the guy that caused all the riots 20 years ago. Oh, you've seen a guy on the ground getting kicked. It's not very great. But I was on the ground getting kicked, and I was screaming out to the guy on the phone, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, because I thought that I was getting a beating for calling him a dog, and I didn't know why he was so upset with me saying call the dogs off. I just couldn't understand. I was on the ground getting kicked by these three guys, and I was saying sorry, and Jesus said into my head, "Are you finished saying sorry now?" And I said yes. And he says, "Well, get up and run to the police station." Because they've got a baseball bat besides the bin just there, and when you're unconscious, they're going to hit you with the baseball bat and kill you. So get up and run to the police station. Well, I did get up. Now there's three guys around me. It's impossible to get up and get away from them. It's impossible. So angels would have come in and grabbed their arms in full Nelsons and held them like police can hold someone's arms back. So three angels would have come in and held them back. And I ran to the police station, and the police come and got my bag out of the club. And I went into the city and had my life saved. On reflection, the police interviewed me all about the club, and I told them that they were dealing heroin, and I told them a whole lot of things about the club. And but I went to the doctors, and I had a bruised rib, and all my ribs should be broken. And Jesus told me not only did angels hold uh, the guy's back when I got up, but two angels had laid either side of me with flesh bodies, but invisible. And so when the guys were kicking me, they were taking the strength of the blows. So the guys must have been quite surprised that they hadn't done a lot of damage to me, and I actually got up from that. So they had a reputation of killing people, and according to Jesus, that's what they were going to do to me. And so that's a pretty radical encounter, isn't it? I told the police how much heroin they were dealing in the club, my estimation, and the police told the manager of the club. And a couple of days later, I was outside the club and had no fear. Jesus told me to go back into King's Cross and don't leave until I tell you to. And a couple of times he sent me down into that club just to say hello to everyone. I stayed for 20 minutes into a club that killed me. That's obedience. In a club that wanted to kill me, I went into that club two times for about 20 minutes because Jesus told me to. So pretty radical. And I was talking to the manager of that club, and he called me a dog. He said, I said, why did the guy get so upset when I called him a dog? And he says, you don't know what a dog is. A dog is someone who goes to the police and tells the police all of our business. And I said, well, it doesn't matter me telling the police all your business. You've got them on the payroll, so that makes no effect. He said, you got no business telling them. And I said, well, they already know. They're getting a percentage of your heroin deal. And so that was the first encounter. That's the first encounter that I'm sharing here. Another one, I was in McDonald's, and I saw a homeless man, and I went to buy him um, a quarter pounder meal, and I was coming back with the quarter pounder meal, and I saw like a burger wrapper fly through the air and hit the homeless person. And when I put it down, I said to the homeless guy, "Did here's an older guy." I said, "Did those guys over there just throw a wrapper at you?" And he said, "Don't worry about it. It's okay." And I said, "No, did they throw a wrapper at you?" And he said, "Yeah, but don't worry about it." And I said, "No, you're my guest." And I got up and I stood up and went to the two guys at the table. I said, "Did you throw a burger wrapper at this homeless man, my guest?" And one guy stood up and he says, "Do you want to take this outside? You want to make something of it? You're going to sit down." I said, "We can take it outside, but I just want to tell you that if we go outside, you might start getting hit by something you can't see, and they'll deal with you. And so I'm just warning you." Well, he went white, and his friend went white, pale white as a ghost, like you see people paint their face white on Halloween or something. He went white. The blood drained out of his face, and that's fear. And he started to stutter and said, "No, no, 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 I don't want any problems, please. I'm sorry." And I could have asked him, I could have said, if ever happened again, I would do it. I could have said, "Have you got $20 that I can give it to him?" And I probably would if it happened in the future. But I could have asked him to do anything. I could have told him, "Get up out of your seat and leave the restaurant." Um, but I didn't realize what was happening at the time. And so I sat down with the homeless man and had a meal. But Jesus told me after the encounter, when I said, "You're going to be hit by something you can't see," they actually saw two angels appear to me in the flesh, appear with me in the flesh next to me. And they were going like this. And that's why the guy was freaking out and looking at me and saying he didn't want any trouble, because he saw two angels appear and threaten him. So that was when someone was threatening me with violence, and I just spoke by faith. I just said that that's what would happen to him. And the third story that I want to tell, I was coming out of a bar with a friend, and my friend, I hadn't been really drinking, I just had a couple of beers, but my friend had been really drinking and was drunk. And when I came out, I was sort of carrying my friend, walking with him, but holding him and walking him along with my arm around him. The bouncer, the security outside the pub wanted to hit him, and I said, "He's my friend. If you're going to hit someone, you're going to have to deal with me." So he looked at me like he wanted to hit me, and I shouted at him, and I said, "Just before you hit me, turn around." And he turned around and said, "See that light pole there?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "If you hit me, something that you can't see next to me is going to hit you, and that's where you're going to land." And he went white as a ghost and started stuttering. And my same old trick was working, obviously, because he saw an angel next to him, next to me, doing his fist like that. And he went like a little baby, just crying and saying, "Please, I don't want any trouble. Please take your friend away." And so they're my angel stories. I've never, touched wood, I've never had to be in a fight, and angels have protected me. So I wonder, do you, listener, do you get yourself in sticky situations? Because angels can protect you. So I've got a book, My Radical Encounters with Angels, And I've got contact information down below, but I'll put a link to my book, My Radical Encounters with Angel, in the description tag down the bottom. And you can go and buy the book for 99 cents. And once again, I apologize that it's not part of my 36 books that are free on the website down below. But if you're interested in the supernatural, and I do interviews with saints from heaven, a lot of my books. And if you're interested in reading some free books, please avail yourself of my free books. One thing I do ask is if you do read one of my books for free, please go to Amazon and write a review for the book. And you can do that as a way of thanking me for my free resources. God bless you.